When I first watched a video of the Wyoming incident, I honestly didn't even know what I was looking at. Back then, I didn't even think analog horror was a widespread term, honestly. I was sitting there, broad daylight outside, with both earbuds in, watching this video at full volume. Well, probably not full volume, I didn't really like doing that. Anyway, at first, it didn't really bother me, but it didn't take very long until I was genuinely paranoid to open the door for fear that mysterious individuals will be outside waiting for me. Yeah, I'm not joking, I genuinely believe that. Local 58 is like the godfather of all modern analog horror. That, and it's still basically the most popular series in the genre. A few years ago, there was nothing that could keep you up at night, sitting and checking that uncomfortably dark doorway right behind you. Great placement, by the way. Before you realize it's almost 4 a.m. and you need to get up at 8 a.m. the next day for school, like Local 58. Unless you count like meat sleep or something, but that's for another day. Yes, sir, there was absolutely nothing like it. But referring back to the title here, I guess I need to actually pick one episode that really bothered me. And that would be Show for Children. It's Show for Children. Now, obviously, when you watch any type of analog horror video, you're kind of always on edge, right? I mean, if you're in a haunted house, you're not just expecting nothing to happen. With this video, though, it doesn't really matter. I can promise you, if you want to do a little experiment, okay, wait until it's dark outside, and then turn all the lights off and go watch this episode, whether you have the context or not, and I am betting that at least 95% of you will be unnerved by what you're witnessing. Anyway, back to the video. So it stars this little guy called Cadaver. I like his little beret. And he's just walking along in his little graveyard town all happy without a care in the world. I don't really know how I feel about the moon looking at him like that, but at this point I was enjoying the aesthetic, as of course I am an old cartoon enjoyer myself. But as soon as he stopped at this plot and thought, hey, maybe the woman I'm presumably in love with or was in a relationship with in the real world is in this plot for some reason, as even though we wear clothes and talk, we never met up and discussed where we were buried. I knew only bad things could happen. Oh, and to be fair, maybe they literally just died, what do I know? It doesn't really matter. I felt even worse when I noticed how hesitantly he was looking over the plot, and then of course we're greeted by King Ramsay's skeleton over here with the eyes in the sockets that somehow make it just that much worse. Now obviously scared like anyone else would be, Cadaver gets out of there, but unlike me at least, he keeps walking in the same direction instead of, I don't know, going home. I guess his home wouldn't be in the graveyard anyway, but I digress. Now, listen, whenever the music cuts out, you know it's gonna get real. You know the phrase, too quiet? It's basically that. And don't even ask me what this is supposed to be, because I do not know. This is the point where any hope I had for this to be tamed died and entered its own grave, because the music didn't come back and the moon was not smiling anymore. An unhappy moon is not a good sign. Remember what happened the last time a moon wasn't very happy about Earth? Now for some reason, the Cadaver decides to go down this hole, not sure how he managed that, before he walks through this very uncomfortable cave, which for the record, I did go to a cave once and it was great. Granted, I was in a group and there were lights in the cave, so you know, that probably helped. Cadaver goes, I guess, back to the opening of the plot before the moonlight engulfs him and turns him into more bones. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Now fast forward a few years in time, and now I'm sitting in a dark room watching The Mysterious House. Honestly, before this point, I wasn't particularly interested in the Walton Files. I mean, I'd let Nexpo's video on it play in the background and listened in and out, but besides that, I hadn't really cared about it. However, one day I was casually watching a YouTube video when I noticed Pastra's video, the scariest episode of the Walton Files, in my recommended. And long story short, I ended up watching the video, obviously, and when I was thinking about this video, it was one of the first things that came to mind. Well, that and Buzus Ghost, which is actually kind of worse. Maybe I'll just do both. Just like with the last video, I knew before I even saw anything else that it would go the absolute worst way because of the moon. And because I watched, you know, the video about it in its entirety before you get it. Tell me you trust that face, though. But anyway, these two kids are out trick-or-treating with no adult because it's the 70s, and the wolf decides that instead of going home like someone who's self-preserving, it would be a better idea to go to the most ominous-looking house in their entire neighborhood. So ominous that it literally saps all of the light around it like a house-shaped black hole. It's, pretty bad. And also, I mean, 2 of the windows are boarded up and the lights are off. Why would you assume someone even lives there? What? The duck is like, no, we should go home, but the wolf insists they go, so caving to peer pressure, the duck follows. After someone opens the door, they're like, hey, pretty cool costumes. Anyway, you want to come inside my house to get some candy? Now, obviously, in modern times, the vast majority of anyone, regardless of age, would be like, no, I don't want to die, but the wolf is like, why, yes, I would love to come inside of a stranger's house. And listen, no offense to my floral wallpaper havers, okay, but a house with walls like this is always a death trap in everything except for like 7 70s sitcoms. So anyway, they introduce some friends. You know, you got the clown and the robot and the bunny with the human smile that makes the music stop when he talks. No chance he's evil, right? Well, anyway, this same bunny eventually suggests that these two children stay in the house, and the rational duck is like, nah, I don't think so, but the wolf is like, oh, come on. Let's just say it's only one night. Because, you know, it takes longer than a night to get killed. They have to wait a specific amount of time before they do it. Anyways, back to the rabbit. Right. This guy made me very uncomfortable, but that's kind of why I liked him. Not sure what that says about me, but I digress. Fast forward and the duck leaves the room at night. Eventually the wolf goes out looking for him, continuing to make good decisions, I see. This is the point where if I hadn't been watching this type of stuff for like 8 years, I probably wouldn't have been able to sleep that night, I can't even lie. So while looking for him, the wolf goes to the living room and sees this horrific looking clown and just says,
Oh. You scared me. How long have you been there? Where's the rest?
Actually, maybe she's just insane. That would make a lot more sense. But anyway, after being followed down this hallway that looks like the walkway to a homemade torture dungeon, she finally walks into the room with Ducky. And by Ducky, I mean dead guy. Get it? Because he's dead, do you get it? Anyway, then they show everyone else's bodies while it sounds like someone is purposefully singing through a funny mic. And then, the bunny shows back up, and let me tell you, if this guy was in Five Nights at Freddy's, I would actually be terrified of the games because for some reason, this is the scariest animatronic I've ever seen. I'm guessing it's the smile, but I don't know. Anyway, then he takes his face off and gets the wolf, but honestly, I expected that, so let's move on. The next 30 seconds just slowly fade into the wolf's face, and that's it. Yeah, this video is gonna be like 10 hours. Anyway, last one, I guess. Buzus Ghost is a story about this guy Buzu, and he's like, bah humbug, I hate Christmas and poor people. And then his worker is like, Buzu, please, my family is literally dying, please give me more money for food. And Buzu's like, sorry. Anyway, fast forward like 8 minutes and Buzu finds a present with a very creepy clown toy inside of it. And of course, because this is the Martin Walls universe, the entire background just disappears and he's forced to go inside of a clown door. For some reason, his first response is to get mad, which doesn't really make any sense. I'm not sure if he's used to like Xeno playing tricks on him or something, but most of the time space and time don't just go out of the window when someone wants to mess with you. But anyway, he goes in and a clown comes out of the present and tells him how bad of a person he is, and Buzu's like, I didn't do any of that stuff that I clearly did and you just showed me that I did. You know, I'm not a bad person or anything, so that causes this to happen.
I don't want to hear you laugh. You don't want to hear me cry. So let's do each other a favor and accept your regrets. Let's do each other a favor and accept your mistakes. For you have stolen and you have lied. You've been rude and yet you deny to have been so greedy and selfish your entire life.
Yeah, thanks, Buzu. Let's add unnecessarily disturbing the viewer to your list of charges. Song was a banger though, I can't lie. So anyway, he keeps lying and then the clown gets scary and is like, look buddy, you're gonna get visited by 3 spirits, good luck. First spirit has a baby doll crying in the room. I don't really like that. Actually, that's a good question. Why are baby dolls so creepy to so many people? I mean, imagine seeing a real baby and you're just like,
oh Christ! What is that foul, pale ghoul staring back at me?
This sheep is like, look old guy, I'm the ghost of the present and I'm gonna show you how horrible everyone's lives are because of you. If you'll just look into this Pee-wee's Playhouse looking TV, you'll see that your worker's entire family is starving to death because you literally don't pay them anything. Also, why does she even work for you? What? He responds that he didn't mean for that to happen, which I mean, you kinda did because you know money buys food, and therefore not paying them, money causes them not to get food, but I digress. The sheep just says they'll die and that's your fault, live with it. Oh, and by the way, you don't have that much time left either, so you should probably figure out what you're gonna do with that. I do like her little Christmas lights, by the way. She goes through a Sailor Moon transformation sequence before showing that the presents she has contain regrets and doubt. I think. I mean, half the time the voices in this sound like they're talking through a low-quality headset from like 2005. The clowns start glitching out, which I really didn't like, before they do something I also really don't like, which is just this entire sequence.
happening to them?
Everything lost, Buzu.
But I don't want them to die. I don't want anyone to die. Please. Please save them, I beg you. Please don't let them die. Please.
On to Ghost 3, we don't have all week. So Ghost 3 is like, hey Buzu, I'm the ghost of mortality and it's time to die. Which, I mean, he's a bunny. We've seen exactly how long you get to live when you see some of those. But after all this, Buzu wakes up and it's just like a Christmas story, you know? He's gonna pay his worker more and be a better person before he dies, right? Yeah, about that.
Benny?
Oh, hey, boss. I was wondering where you were. It's good to see you're okay.
Benny? Benny?
The bunny shows back up and says, look man, you did this to yourself. Don't know what you want, honestly. Also, there's your child self, I guess. Then everyone else shows up to witness him die. So how does he die, you may ask? Well, he gets a clock and the alarm goes off and then he just melts in a probably unimaginably painful way to die, and then they're like, hey, did you get enough of his corpse yet? Well, here's a little bit more. Also, man, whoever found him like this probably needed so much therapy. The guy literally looked like lasagna. Can't say I won't be watching this every Christmas, though.